Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with John Shannon, the Hall of Fame executive producer, Hockey Night in Canada, turned analyst in Canada. I think he wanted to submit me for a drug test that I had the Rangers missing the playoffs this year. Am I that out to lunch?
No, because of when you look at the other teams and you look in the past, it's so tight, so close. When you say missing the playoffs, they can miss the playoffs by 2 points. That's how close it is. And then you got to look at the team. You got to look at the other teams in comparison. And you look at like Pittsburgh. I believe Pittsburgh's going to make the playoffs. You know, they had Carlson. You look at the Devils. The Devils, my goodness, they eliminated the Rangers in the first round, so they got to deal with them. So there's going to be a lot of tight games. Now, having said that, and these close matches, goaltending plays a premium. And when you look at Ranger goaltending, I think, you know, there are two. Somebody added Jonathan Quick. Because of those two, I think Jonathan Quick will be able to win a few more games as a backup. So it's going to be close, going to be tight. But you saying they may not make the playoffs doesn't mean they're not going to have a good season. They're going to have a good season. They're going to be tough. They're going to be close like they were last year. Did they really improve? Well, that remains to be seen. They got a whole new coaching staff with Peter Laviolette, and he added Housley and Pekka. I don't know how much a difference that's going to make.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Who will be the NFL MVP? Leading the way, I put other, okay, as an option. So I got Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, or other. 40% are saying other. And then 27% saying Joe Cool, Joe Burrow of the Bengals. 20% saying Patrick Mahomes, and 13% saying Josh Allen. I'll just put Patrick Mahomes. I haven't put 2 seconds of thought in it. I like him. He's on the best team.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Hello, everybody. Welcome inside on a very exciting day. It's what we call Football Friday here. And, yeah, we got the bell ready to go. We're ready to talk ball. Thanks for joining us on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio. I got to move this. I got to move my trusty thermos I got from my friends at the Canadian Football League so you can see the football that I got from the Canadian Football League. So, yeah, we're going to be talking a lot of CFL here today. Because what do they say? Fish where the fish are. And there's a lot down here. It's the fishing capital here in South Florida. We're going to Toronto, where it is the capital of what, Darren Moose DuPont, besides the self-appointed capital of the world? Have you heard? You've been living there long enough. What is Toronto the capital of?
Good question. But you know what? I'm gonna get to the bottom of it, and I'm gonna find out, and I'll report back to you.
Thank you. Well, hey, we're going to have some fun here today. We always do. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. The guests today include Jim Barker from the CFL on TSN. He's in Hour 1. And in Hour 2 from the CFL on TSN, Paul Lapolice. Yes, we're good friends with TSN. The football people, the hockey people, all of the people. But I just want to say this. I learned this a long time ago, a few years ago when I first came to South Florida, Darren, that we're the fishing capital. I told you that, right? I learned that on a jet ski in the Keys from my guy, Stevie. He's neighbors with Jimmy Johnson. Fishing capital. We are the golf capital. So I'm told. I haven't bothered to figure that out on my own. 3, fitness capital. I'm working on it. And then recovery capital and addiction capital. And then I heard this the other day. It's the ballroom dancing capital. Did I tell you that story? Did I tell you that?
How about that? No, you didn't.
Yeah. Randy from Overtime Lanes, one of our newest sponsors here on the RP show. Overtime Lanes in Calgary, amusement park for hockey players. He says, whereabouts in Florida are you? I said, Boca Raton. I said, you know the area? Nobody knows where Boca Raton is. And he goes, no, that's the ballroom dancing capital of America. I'm like, what? We got another one. So then Randy, tell me, he's a big ballroom dancer, man, and
okay.
I could go on all day about that, but we got another one. Did they tell me we got another? Hey, Moose, can you talk about the game last night? Jared Goff throwing for 253 yards and the Detroit Lions upsetting Kansas City 21-20. The boys say they're going to fix my audio here before we go any further. This floor is yours.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it was a great game last night. I watched probably 3/4 of it out in the living room. I moved in to the bedroom to watch the fourth quarter and made it to the end of the game last night. It was a great game. We were really worried. Not worried. We were wondering what Kansas City was going to look like. Obviously, no Chris Jones, who was there watching the game, by the way. They unveiled the championship banner. And no Travis Kelce, who was on the sidelines. We learned just before the game he wasn't going to go because of the knee problem. And it turned out it was a factor in the game. Kadarius Toney had 3 drops, really bad. One was a perfectly thrown ball that was deflected right into a Detroit defender's arms for a touchdown that was promptly ran all the way back for a touchdown. So that was a big turning point in the game. But for me, it was less about that. It was more about there's a changed culture in Detroit right now. There was moments in that second half where typically if you're a Detroit Lions fan, and I think about my entire life, they've never been a team that's been synonymous with winning. There's never been in my lifetime, you've never thought about the Detroit Lions as somebody who was a Super Bowl contender. Not that they're there yet, but they're close. They had a different level of confidence, and this Kansas City team didn't. They only converted, I think it was 1/3 down in the entire second half. That's not like Kansas City. So at the end, it was a 21-20 win. Detroit made more big plays, and they look like a different team, and Kansas City looks like a different team after last night.
Yeah, no kidding. So we're good to go, and my apologies to the crew flying the Millennium Falcon, Moose. I had a bit of a brain fart here in terms of my setup every day, so thank you guys for getting us ready to roll. And hey, that was the big news last night, 21-20, Detroit winning, a very winnable game for the Chiefs. But that brings up the poll, which they lost. It's the first ever season-opening loss for Patrick Mahomes, by the way, who was 5-0 going into it. So the poll question today is very simply, are the Kansas City Chiefs in trouble? That's the question across all the American talk shows we're watching today. And our daily poll questions for Key Auto Group. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. My answer to that, what I would vote is, no, they're not. It's the first game of the season, but I will say this to you, Darren. You can't tell me Chris Jones' stock didn't go way up, that they lose without him while he's holding out, and then, of course, Travis Kelce not playing too. My question to this, and listen, we're going to have a ton of CFL talk, everybody, so just hold on. We'll get there. But I got to ask you, why did it not affect the line? Kansas City was still favored by 4.5 or 5 points going in. Everybody knew Travis Kelce wasn't going to play, and Chris Jones was holding out. So why was that not reflected? Those were major factors in the game last night.
They were, but I think the reason the line didn't move is because of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Look, we thought the Chiefs were going to take a step backwards when Travis Kelce left. That offense didn't miss a beat. They've very much become plug and play, and Mahomes is so dynamic that he just makes things happen. And if you watched last night, he made enough things happen and found guys in open spots, but there was untimely mistakes and drops, right? If Kadarius Toney can haul in those passes over the middle, even one of them, we might be looking at a completely different game. So I think that's why the line didn't change. I think Kelce's being out really put some doubt in people's mind, but I don't think it made people bet on Detroit at scale. But you look at their schedule, when you ask if they're done, I say no. I say long-term things will balance out. They'll get into the playoffs and do their thing. I don't know that they'll be a number 1 seed, but they've got to face Jacksonville, who's improved. The Bears are better. And then you got the Jets and Vikings. So it's a tough kind of start out of the gate for Kansas City, especially if Kelce's out for any length of time, and same with Jones if they can't get that sorted out.
And the other big news came down the afternoon of the game. Quarterback Joe Burrow has become the highest paid player in the NFL after signing a 5-year, $275 million contract extension with the Cincinnati Bengals. $219 million of that's guaranteed. He's going to get an average of $55 million per year, which I believe makes him now the highest paid player in the NFL. And I'll only say this, that agent Alan Walsh, primarily an NHL agent, right? We know that he's got Marc-Andre Fleury because of the things that he said. And Jonathan Huberdeau, by the way. I don't know if you saw his tweet, but he was like, wake up, NHL players. And I thought, was that because of the guaranteed money? Because there isn't as much guaranteed in the National Hockey League, or the fact that these guys are making $55 million a year. We're going nuts because Austin Matthews makes $13.25 million. Is he saying, do you think, Darren, I don't know if you saw his tweet, is he saying you guys should be making more money or you guys should be getting more guaranteed money? What do you think Alan Walsh meant by that tweet?
I think it's both. And I know, if you follow Alan Walsh, you've seen for the last little while, he's been on a little bit of this mission, or, I don't want to call it a rampage, but he's been on a mission tweeting about salaries between hockey, baseball, basketball, and football, and showing the discrepancy and how hockey continues to be the most underpaid. And he's put out tweets saying, this is how many players in the National Football League make more money than Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews. This is how many people in the NBA and in the MLB, how they'd be the 120th highest paid baseball player if they were in Major League Baseball. So I think he's trying to push for NHL player salaries to grow. They've continued to grow, but yeah, they're not matching football, basketball, and baseball right now.
Yeah. Look at the revenues, bro. Just go away. Just go away. But speaking of agents, did you end up watching the Johnny Manziel documentary? Because we watched it yesterday. You watched it? I think they could have split it into 2, maybe 3, because it's a little long for one sitting. But I loved his agent, Eric Burkhart, whom I believe I have his number. We got to get him on. Former agent Eric Burkhart.
Yes.
Because he fired Johnny Manziel. I'll put my summation of my thoughts in my 10 things column on the Johnny Manziel thing. But my takeaway was that he just doesn't love football that much, and he just wants to be left alone. End of story. Does that answer it for you? Does that answer it?
Yeah.
Because you said you were kind of left with a little left hanging at the end. I wasn't. I get it.
No, I think that's a great, takeaway from the show. I mean, when I think that it was left hanging, I wanted to see a little bit more. I mean, we saw Cliff Kingsbury in the documentary. You mentioned his former agent. It was just and his former best friend. I don't know if they're back, as friends again. That was kind of coordinating all the autograph signings for him in college. But it was only the 3. Like, we didn't see anything from Cleveland. There was 0 about the Canadian Football League stint with the Montreal Alouettes. So, I mean, I would have loved to see a little bit more of that. Heard from some people in Cleveland about how that went. Maybe some people up here in Canada. But overall, no, it's hard not to enjoy these things, especially when you're talking about characters like Johnny Football, because that pretty wild circus he was in.
Well, make no mistake. And, folks, you got to see it. This started with Swamp Kings. I watched that 4-part series on the Florida Gators under Urban Meyer. And then this Johnny Manziel thing. Everybody said, well, if you like that, you got to watch the Manziel thing. And I did. And I'm just like, let's just say, hey, he's an idiot. I'm not letting him off the hook. And his dad is an asshole. If you noticed in the documentary, wasn't Johnny's fault. His idiot friends picked a fight in the bar, and Johnny just happened to have fake ID on him. And there was so much pressure on Johnny. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, it was never Johnny's fault. The dad should be hung up by his eyelids and punched till he blinks. And Johnny said, I became bigger than Texas A&M. Call it. He said, and maybe he did, but you don't say it. Yeah. So now, having said all that, he's a jerk. He hasn't learned his lesson. I'm not defending Johnny in any way, but at this point in his life, he just wants to be left alone. And as I was talking to some of the guys from my club last night, we all got together for supper moose at the Yard House. Not sure I took you down there, but I said, Johnny could go have one weekend signing in Vegas and make $100,000 cash. Like, frankly, there's nothing wrong in America. Now that I live here, I can confirm it even more. Nothing wrong with being a college star. And ask Vince Young. I've been there in Austin. And not that he was terrible in Tennessee. That's your team. But he's an icon in Austin, and that's pretty damn good. Tim Tebow walks on water in Gainesville. And Johnny, however it is at College Station, he'll be fine. That's what he'll be remembered of. Other than that, just leave him alone. And on that part of it, I get it. By the way, just to prove that we're live daytime television across all of Canada, 10 provinces and 31 states. There will be no gold medal for Canada at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. The Canadians fell 95-86 to Serbia in this morning's semifinal game in Manila. R.J. Barrett led Canada with 23 points. Germany beat the USA, if you can believe, in the other semifinal. So it will be a Germany-Serbia final. Canada out. We can go back to our lives. I will spend a minute on this Canadian Football League. I wondered what the really odd thing was on my screen. It was this little wiggly on my breaking news bell. But if you really pay attention, you'll see a fat lizard crawling up my screen deck here. My line A, as they call it here in Florida, screened-in patio. Tonight's CFL kickoff to Week 14, Friday Night Football. We got Jim Barker coming up. Oh, shoot. Is he next? I really got to speed it up. Yeah, Jim Barker's next. Well, Jim next, Paul Lapolice, hour 2. Moose, you can break down more of the CFL games next hour when you come back. But I was reading the game notes on this one. Initially, I picked Ottawa to win tonight at home over Hamilton. Then I got reading the game notes. I guess if I'm going to bet, I should probably do that. How do you feel about this? Hamilton's coming in on 3 days rest. Ottawa's had 11. Ottawa's lost 5 in a row. And Taylor Powell, his first 3 starts, 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. His last 3 starts, 0 interceptions, and I think 4 touchdowns. Taylor Powell's getting better. I think Hamilton goes in there and wins despite the rest. But given that information, does that you thought Hamilton would go in and win? Does the rest situation change your mind on that?
It does make me think long and hard, the rest thing, but I'm going to stick with Hamilton because that's who I went with, and I'll stay with it. And for Powell, the way he's evolved and grown through the last number of weeks, I think that's what you want out of a quarterback. You've got a good developmental system. I still love their head coach and Orlando Steinauer and what they're doing in Hamilton. It's a long process, but he's getting better, and I think that's a good thing. But that only matters if you're winning football games. A team that's hosting the Grey Cup needs to start stringing together some wins. It starts this weekend.
From the text line, Kirk in Toronto watching on Game Plus TV says, "Hi, Rod. Always looking forward to the RP show, but nothing beats Football Friday. Thanks for doing this for us football junkies." Brian in Hudson Bay says, "I bet you Chris Jones will be signed by next weekend. KC might be finding out that they have let too many receivers walk. The receivers didn't look good last night." And Jim in Belgoni says, "Let's do this. Finish off a great week with a fantastic Football Friday. Thanks, RP crew." Moose, next hour, we will play NFL Deal or No Deal, 4Bet, Regal, and a few other things. But thanks for this. See you in a few. Toodaloo.
You bet.
CFL on TSN's Jim Barker joins us next. It is a Football Friday live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, Football Friday continues live on Game Plus TV and Key Radio. Hey, by the way, collectors, register for the premier sports card convention where collectors, enthusiasts, and sports lovers unite to celebrate the beauty and value of their treasured items. Taking place in Red Deer, Alberta, in the Parkland Pavilion, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. Get your tickets and more information at premiersportscardcon.ca. That's premiersportscardcon.ca. Brand new partners of the RP show coming your way in Red Deer later this month. Okay, we're going to open up with Jim Barker, CFL on TSN. A quick thought, Barks, if you don't mind, his weekly appearance for EMJ Marketing. Was the Lions upset in Kansas City, 21-20? How big of a shock, or maybe not a shock for you, was that result?
Actually, when, the Lions have been one of those anomalies, kind of, we have teams up here like that they get all this hype. For them to go into Kansas City and play the way they did, I mean, they were physical. They basically physically took it to Kansas City. I didn't think Kansas City defensively held up well. You just mentioned in your last thing, I think Chris Jones, there's nothing worse in management than have to go and say, you know what, we need to get this done because they know they're not going anywhere without him. And I think it was obvious that they just weren't as physical. So kudos to the Detroit Lions, to Dan Campbell, the things they're doing there. And I just, the 1-2 punch of Montgomery and Gibbs it's real. And, Jared Goff, I don't think the Rams believed that he could be the guy who could win Super Bowls for them. In this kind of a system with what they're doing where, he's not in a whole lot of gun. He's not in a whole ton of drop back. He occasional drop back, and he actually looks better in it than he ever has. So I think this is a good football team that's well coached and doing the right things. They're on the right track.
If any franchise and fan base deserves it, it's them. So if you saw the last segment, you heard us talking about Hamilton, Ottawa tonight. This one is a tough one for me. Red Black stumbling coming in, but they are coming off a bye. They've lost 5 in a row. Hamilton playing on 3 days rest, but this Taylor Powell's learning every week and getting better. What's your assessment of tonight's game at TD Place?
Well, like you, I always like to take the better team, and Hamilton's beat them twice. But I was involved in that Calgary-Edmonton turnaround, that 3 days in between games. And, you know, the one year, 2003, where we actually won on Labor Day, by Friday, you know, you figure that the players go out and celebrate, and then you come back, your next day's really not much, and then you have one day to, when you're playing the same team, it's actually workable. I've never seen the 3-day turnaround with a team playing a team coming off of a bye. I think that's just too much. I'm not a gambling man, but if I was, this is Ottawa's opportunity. This is a must-win for Ottawa. If Ottawa doesn't win this game, they're going to be done. I mean, they play no more teams under 500 the rest of the way. They'll have 6 games after tonight. If they don't win tonight, they are done. And if having 2 weeks to prepare, they've been watching film of Hamilton for 2 weeks, and now they're playing a team that really had no practice. They had 1 day, and it was so hot out, they probably didn't get a whole lot done. If Ottawa can't beat Hamilton in this situation, they're worse than we thought they were. So I would pick Ottawa tonight. I just think that this is a game that, again, I've been in the league for almost 30 years. I've never seen the 3-day turnaround not playing the same team. That's a tough one, and playing a team also coming off of a bye. So if Ottawa can't do this one, I don't know that they can win again.
Great assessment, and so rest is a big factor despite the losing streak that they currently carry. Hey, to the triple header on Saturday, man. Are you got some Pedialites? You got whatever it takes to get you going all day? How long are you going to be on television Saturday?
The whole day. We get in around 10:30 or 11, and we will be there until, you know, until that final game ends. And you know, it's Calgary and Edmonton, but they're exciting games, and that makes it intriguing. So we start with Toronto, Montreal, and one of the things that's going to happen is that either Montreal is going to say, you know what, we really are a legitimate top-end team, and they're going to go into Toronto and win, or Toronto's going to say, you know what, we're going to clinch this playoff spot. We're going to put ourselves so far ahead that it's going to take the pressure off of us a little bit coming down the stretch. Again, it's just a great matchup for right now. Then you get the rematch of the best game of the Labor Day weekend, the Saskatchewan-Winnipeg game. That was, I mean, how could you script that out? It was absolutely classic CFL football in every sense. I have a feeling that this game is going to be extremely physical. Again, the Pete Robertson situation, that was unfortunate. You know, Rod, when you and I used to play, when you made a great play, get up and you'd high five anybody, and nowadays they headbutt guys. I honestly believe if that was Micah Johnson, it would have been Micah Johnson that he headbutted. And the first person he saw was Zach. Instead of giving him a high five like we used to do, he gave him a headbutt. And I don't think it was an intentional, oh, there's Zach Caleros, I'm going to go give him a headbutt because I can knock him. I don't think it was anything like that. I think it was an emotion of, we just stopped them on the biggest play of the game. I'm pumped up. And like I say, he just looked around and it looked like the first person he saw was Zach, and it was unfortunate. And he deserves to be suspended. I'm not by any means saying he did. He deserves to be suspended. They have to control that. But I just think the emotions of this game, while I thought the game on Sunday was very physical, I think it's going to go up a notch. I think for Saskatchewan to win, they need to do the same kinds of things that they did against Winnipeg. I thought they ran the ball. They used Morrow out of the backfield. It was just it was a thing of beauty, and that's one of Winnipeg's issues is getting guys covered coming out of the backfield, and I thought they did a great job there. So that's going to be just such a fun game to watch. Snot bubbles all over IG Field. They're going to be hitting like nobody's business. And then, in the nightcap, we get the Calgary-Edmonton game, and Calgary comes from way behind to beat Edmonton. Again, that stop their winning streak. But Trey Ford again played pretty well. He couldn't throw the ball when they had to throw it, which was a little disappointing. But I just think this is going to be a really interesting game from so many different angles. Who's good? This one to me is the toughest one to pick. I honestly, if I was a betting man, I think I would bet with Edmonton, because I do think that in Trey Ford, they have somebody that can hurt you so many different ways. Now, whether he's ever going to become the passer that he needs to be, that when they're behind and they need to throw, can he be that guy? I don't know. He reminds me, people were talking about Flutie, and Chris Jones mentioned Flutie, and and Flutie was a passer who ran the ball. And maybe Trey will become that. He reminds me of Tracy Ham, and I had Tracy in Montreal toward the end of his career when he became a much better passer. He became much better at getting the ball out of his hands, his accuracy and things. And that's who he reminds me of, because Tracy had unbelievable spot quickness. Like you couldn't tackle him in a phone booth. He was a jitterbug. And that to me is what I see Trey Ford more as Tracy Ham maybe than Doug Flutie at this point. Now, maybe he'll evolve into Doug, and I had Doug in his last year in the CFL, so obviously he was a finished product by that point. But I always saw him as a passer that could hurt you with the run, and kind of like what Mahomes does with Kansas City. He's a passer who can hurt you with the run. Where I see Trey Ford as a runner who could hurt you with the arm. But that's the way I see it right now. I know Trey doesn't want that, but that's kind of where he is right now. And, again, I watching him evolve is going to be fun these last few weeks. But this is an interesting game, because if Calgary can win, it's going to put them in the hunt potentially for the crossover, especially if Ottawa beats Hamilton. So much excitement. How can you not stay awake on Saturday?
I know. Well, I'll be awake for it all. I love Chris Jones, as many people know, but the Trey Ford compared to Doug Flutie, just stop. Trey Ford looks really good at his best. When he's at his best, he looks real good. He's got a long ways to go. Now, you talk about the excitement. You're right, Jim. I was reading the game notes here just this morning. Winnipeg and Sask. Sask has never beaten Winnipeg ever in overtime. Never happened till last week. I mean, that's what's great about this game and just sports. You never know what's going to happen when you go to the ballpark, right? Which, by the way, Bombers are favored by 8.5 in the Banjo Bowl. Do you think that the tables turn here when they're at home? Like, what are the factors for Winnipeg in this game to win it?
Well, to me, the biggest thing is I think their focus on offense is going to be at a different level. I don't think they just didn't seem totally, I don't know, there was just something wrong with them offensively. They weren't their normal crisp, even the running game with Oliveira, it's just a credit to the defensive front. And I think we sometimes don't give Saskatchewan's defensive front the credit it deserves, because I felt in the run game, they basically kept Oliveira to 3-4 yard gains. He had a couple of long ones that he broke out of, but for the most part, I thought they did a great job on him. That's, I believe, I think they're going to do a much better job running the ball. Winnipeg will, which will then open up their passing game a little bit more. I do like the Winnipeg receivers against the Saskatchewan defensive backs. But again, they got to be able to run the ball to make that stuff work for Zach. So again, I just didn't think their offense looked real sharp. I thought their defense was okay. But when Saskatchewan needed, and I'm going to give Jake Dolegala, I'm going to give Kelly Jeffries a ton of credit. You know how I always talk about quarterbacks and finding the right offensive coordinator? This is a case of like the offensive coordinator finding the right quarterback for the stuff he's comfortable doing. I think he's more comfortable with Jake Dolegala than he was with Mason Fine. I think he's a little bit more like Trevor. But I just thought his plan with Dolegala was fantastic. Dolegala looked He looked like a true, legitimate 6'7" drop back quarterback who can throw the dig routes and throw those tough routes that shorter guys sometimes struggle with. So, again, I give a lot of credit to Kelly for, again, it may be a situation of an offensive coordinator finally finding the perfect quarterback for his system. It's kind of an interesting thought.
Yeah, well, you knew Kelly Jeffrey from before. The Rider fans were all over him. Who's this guy? And I'm like, just give him a chance. You knew him. Didn't you say you guys had him on the Argos staff back in the day?
Yeah, he coached special teams for us, but I knew him back when he was at UNLV just starting out. Our paths crossed long before he came to work for us with the Argos. So, he's a good football coach. Again, his systems are more Bill Walsh-like than they are anything else. And like I say, watching that game, it was about middle of the second quarter. I said, man, this is like Kelly has found his guy that can do the stuff he wants. He had thrown a layered dig route, and he drilled it right in. And I thought, now that's the stuff that he wants to do. That's the stuff that they used to do when he was at UNLV. That's the old West Coast offense type of stuff. And I thought, man, it's really rarer. Usually it's the quarterback needs the offensive coordinator that can adapt to him. Here's an offensive coordinator that's maybe found a quarterback that really fits the stuff he loves doing.
And a great job by them to win games without their top two guys. Let's not forget about that, right? That hasn't been easy on them. So, Jim, always love it. The viewers love it. Hope you get a good nap, get a good sleep tonight. And we'll be watching all day tomorrow down here on CBS Sports
My favorite
Network.
10 minutes of the week. 10 minutes on
ours too.
Friday with Rod Pedersen.
Ours too.
Looking forward to it.
Us too. Thanks, Barks.
Matt.
Have a great weekend. We'll be right back with a sports update, everybody. Paul Lapolice coming in hour 2, his debut on the RP show. He's like, ask me about the suspension. Ask me about the suspension. So that'll be good. You just got Jim's take. We'll be right back. We are live on the Game Plus TV network, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Boy, are we having fun as advertised on a Football Friday. Thanks, everybody, for being a part of it. I just realized that John Ohm was with us, and now he's gone. He said he's gone golfing. So hit him straight, John. Thanks for being part of our show in Winnipeg till this point. Jeff the Stamps fan writing in regarding Jim Barker's take on one Jake Dolegala, the Saskatchewan quarterback. Jeff the Stamps fan says, unfortunately, you can see an all too familiar cycle starting in Rider Nation again. Building a quarterback up to godlike status that he can't possibly live up to. Then the fall. I'm just passing it along. I've seen it. I don't know that there's going to be a fall with Dolegala, but you got half of it right. They're certainly building him up like and they're comparing Trey Ford to Doug Flutie. Stop the world. I want to get off. And I apologize, by the way, to everybody that wrote in with questions for Jim Barker. I didn't get them until we were on the air. I didn't even look at the computer when I was on with Barks, as you noticed. So if you have questions for our guests, get them in ahead of time. I'll do my best. And I apologize, Craig Smitty, that I didn't get to yours. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says it's a massive football weekend. Thursday night football last night. Friday night football tonight. 9 hours of CFL Saturday. Stack of NFL Sunday. Cap with Monday night football. You didn't even talk about college there, Nelson. And for that matter, Canadian University. Junior teams coming off a bye in the PFC. I don't know if they were all across the Canadian Junior Football League. Jim Barker getting him riled up in Winnipeg with his take on Pete Robinson's suspension, saying he just got up and wanted to headbutt somebody. He didn't realize it was the quarterback of Winnipeg. David Ice, watching in Winnipeg, says, I'm pretty sure Pete Robinson can tell the difference between blue and gold versus green and white. I don't buy that reasoning. Here's the thing about Jim, why it makes him so great. He don't care what anybody thinks. Nor do I, by the way, if you haven't quite figured that out yet. So that's his take. Regarding the game in Ottawa tonight, Navy Don writes in, he says, Ottawa all the way. Dustin Crum gets help from his receivers. Don, if you're going to the game, please send me a picture. Please and thank you. Now, there was the message from John Ohm saying, I'm going to pass this along. This is what I get asked, these types of things. He says, I have a tea time at noon. Can you speed up the show? Joking.
How about that?
Have a great show and weekend. How about you move your tea time back? How about that?
Bingo.
John Ohm. Yeah, bingo. Approved.
Approved.
David in Winnipeg says, looking sharp, RP and Moose. Happy Friday. Go Bombers. I just realized that I've got shirt on that matches our banner. How about that? That was not planned, just so you know. Hey, how about this one, Clark? I had a longtime friend of mine texting me last night. He somehow got a hold of my U.S. number. But it's okay because he's a longtime friend of mine from 30 years ago. Why am I connecting with all these friends from 30 years ago? Like, when I say that, I haven't heard from them, much less thought of them, for 30 years. But you know why it is, Clark? It's because we're on Shaw Rogers Channel 230. That's what it is. Duh. 2 million more homes now that we're in Western Canada alone. So anyways, he writes me. I'm not going to even tell you his name. But he says, Ron Duguay? You had on Ron Duguay? He goes, I just discovered your show. It's great. Yeah, well, thanks. We're only in year 5, bro. See why we have him talk for 30 years? You know what I mean? I said, we have all the classics on the RP show. Just chill and get in it. He's acting like it's all the newest, greatest thing. And I've been sitting here, 1,077 episodes. They just found it this week. A sports update, by the way. How about this? The Chicago Blackhawks will retire Hall of Fame defenseman Chris Chelios' number 7 jersey. The Blackhawks had Pearl Jam frontman Eddie Vedder deliver the news to his longtime friend during the band's concert at the United Center Thursday night. The 61-year-old Chelios, a Chicago native and former Moose Jaw Canuck, played for his hometown team from 1990 until he was traded to Detroit in March of 1999. He remains the team's career leader in penalty minutes with 1,495. Danny Wirtz, the chairman and CEO of the Chicago Blackhawks, said his late father, Rocky, wanted Chelly's number 7 to be the next one retired by the franchise. Rocky Wirtz died in July at the age of 70. I'll say this again, like with Chelios. The ladies watching the show right now, particularly, of a certain demographic, let's say 55 plus, which is what we owns that demographic across Canada and moving into the United States as well. 55 plus age, male and female. The gals in Moose Jaw tell me they remember the day Chris Chelios rolled into Moose Jaw as a junior to play with the Canucks. They said he got out of the car. He was wearing white leather shoes, a suit, and I don't think he had a shirt on underneath it. The way the story was related to me. And that Chelios just looked like $1 million. He still does. But imagine him at 18 showing up in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. They'd never seen something like that before, I don't think. Yusei Kikuchi gets the start tonight as the Toronto Blue Jays begin a critical homestand with a series against the Kansas City Royals. Toronto will also host the Texas Rangers and Boston Red Sox over the next series, or the next few series. Kansas City has not yet named its starting pitcher for tonight's game, as of this writing. And Racing Lou holds a one-shot lead heading into the second round of the LPGA Tour's Kroger Queen City Championship in Ohio. Canada's Brooke Henderson now tied for 49th after a 1-under-71 round. Sports update is for Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5. Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale. 4 of those sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. Full-on audience takeover when we come back. Coming up in Hour 2, Paul Lapolice to lead off Hour 2. Moose will rejoin us as we'll play NFL Deal or No Deal for Bet Regal. We're live on Game Plus, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Welcome back, everybody. What a great show we got going on today. By the way, I don't ask for a lot, but can you please do me a favor? You see Common Crown Brewery on the screen. That's actually, you can help me there too. They are our new sponsor of our sports updates and in part bringing you hockey coverage every day in the RP show. They got a bar there at the brewery, okay? I've been there in Calgary, 28th Street Northeast. Head down to the tap room Thursday through Saturday, noon to 8 p.m. It's their own bar. Take a friend or two, because if you show up alone, it'll look weird. But they've got all their beers in a cooler. Go check them out. They got big screen TVs. They have the RP show on, from what I understand. When we are live, but noon to 8 p.m., Thursday, Friday, Saturday, head down there. And we got a brand new sponsor today, and this is what I really want you to help us out. Collectors, register for the premier sports card convention where collectors, enthusiasts, and sports lovers unite to celebrate the beauty and value of their treasured items. Taking place in Red Deer, Alberta, in the Parkland Pavilion, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. Get your tickets and more information at premiersportscardcon.ca. And you can also follow them on Instagram, because that's where I even discovered them, premiersportscardcon.ca. I'm going on Sunday to one here in Hollywood, Florida. Matthew Tkachuk is going to be there, the biggest star on the Florida Panthers and a finalist for NHL MVP last year. So these things are a lot of fun. 3 days in Red Deer, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. I don't ask you a lot of favors, but I'm asking you this. Go to their website, premiersportscardcon.ca, and sign up and go if you can, but at least check them out. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Buffalo Bill writes in from North Dakota and says, Football Friday, approved. Yeah, everybody's geeked up, man. It's the best football weekend of the year. Interesting comment from Jen at the Four Seasons. She writes in and says, good morning, everyone. Crazy game last night. Got that game wrong in my picks. LOL. And she says, I didn't know that Jared Goff is undefeated against Mahomes. Isn't that something? That's a really interesting point. I mean, that's why I don't bet a lot. If I were to bet, I would bet on the Canadian Football League because that's the league that I know the most. I just can't imagine being a rube and going putting money down on something. You might as well go put it on a damn spin of a roulette wheel or even a blackjack hand. If you're going to bet on sports, but you don't know, not you, Jennifer, I'm saying anybody. Like, I didn't know that either. But I didn't bet on it. You know? Jim Barker had that interesting analysis of Ottawa versus Hamilton tonight. Ottawa's coming off a bye. Even though they've lost 5 games in a row, they've had 11 days rest. Hamilton's got 3. And even though they're getting better with their third-string quarterback, Taylor Powell, he's like, take Ottawa. And that's why we should never doubt the Bet Regal odds makers who have the Red Blacks favored by 4. Talking a lot of CFL here. I hope that you enjoy it. There are friends sending me the gift package here earlier this week. And as our CEO, Joe Gunna, said, fish where the fish are. It's our biggest audience is CFL fans. Well, isn't this interesting? Wayne in Victoria, BC says, I just realized that the RP show is over 4 years old. I believe it was June of 2019 that I watched the first episode. Yeah, June 3rd, 2019. And I would say, Wayne, you've been here for over 98% of them. So I really appreciate you for that. A lot. Nels, last minute of play. Ted in Red Deer says, my tea time beckons. Have to catch Lapo on PVR. Great week of shows, RP. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone. Team effort by everybody. It's been a great week of shows for sure. And you guys, move those tea times back. They say it's not the same watching it on a recorded versus live. You know that, Ted and Red Deer. But you do you. I'll do me. Nelson says, even when you know the league the most, who saw the Elks coming out of hibernation to compete? Well, the odds were going to be they weren't going to be terrible forever. They were going to win at least 1 game, so now they've won 2. And all of a sudden, their quarterback's Doug Flutie. Okay. Next hour, Paul Lapolice. This is going to be fun with my buddy Lapo. Stick around after this brief pause on Game Plus and Key Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Who will be the NFL MVP? Leading the way, I put other, okay, as an option. So I got Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, or other. 40% are saying other. And then 27% saying Joe Cool, Joe Burrow of the Bengals, 20% saying Patrick Mahomes, and 13% saying Josh Allen. I'll just put Patrick Mahomes. I haven't put 2 seconds of thought in it. I like him. He's on the best team.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show, coming at you live on the Game Plus television network. That's across all 10 Canadian provinces and 31 U.S. states. Also, WQEE Radio in Atlanta, where the Falcons got a big one this weekend, Week 1 matchup against Carolina. Also, podcast and YouTube Live. We're going to be playing NFL Deal or No Deal Week 1 in the National Football League next segment. But let's not wait any longer. On this Football Friday, CFL on TSN's Paul Lapolice joins us. The guys were telling me that he is in. It don't look like an airport to me, Lapo. I heard you were going to be in an airport when you came on the show today.
Yeah, I changed my flight to get a little bit more work. It's a short week for me also. So I said, you know what, I'm leaving now at 6 o'clock to head over to Toronto.
Okay, well, I appreciate you with some time and a very busy weekend. They're calling it the best football weekend of the year. CFL Week 14, back end of the Labor Day games, college football Week 2, NFL kickoff. So it's all awesome. But my first question for you is this. Hamilton, Ottawa tonight. Jim Barker was on last hour, and we're kind of having a tough time deciding which way to lean on this. Ottawa's got the rest, 11 days off. Hamilton only 3, but Hamilton's getting better. What's your read on this game tonight?
Yeah, a couple of points. Hamilton, when they had their success against BC to win the football game, they're able to run the ball with Butler. You know, Ottawa's the best in the CFL at stopping running the football. So I think it's going to be hard sledding for them, and they're going to have to let Powell throw the football. So, you know, but that's been a struggle for Ottawa, is giving up the deep passes. So hopefully the bye week helped Ottawa with that. But I got to think, you know, I heard you saying that Barker likes Ottawa after the bye. I would say the same thing. You have so much time to prep. You're healthy. You're getting some players back. And you're not playing on a short week banged up. So I think Ottawa's at home, so I'm going to go with Ottawa.
Okay, well, as are the odds makers. So you guys all know what you're doing. That's why I do what I do, sit here and talk, and you guys analyze.
Yeah,
Jordan in Regina. Yeah, regarding the Banjo Bowl, Jordan writes in and says, you know the Riders won the Labor Day Classic when the entire city of Winnipeg becomes fixated on the Banjo Bowl. I respectfully submit, the city of Winnipeg's always fixated on the Banjo Bowl. It's always sold out, Lapo. I don't think last week's result had anything to do with that.
Yeah, like it's such a great experience. I remember talking last week on the panel about it. Like when I first came into the league, I did 2 years in Toronto, and no, 2 years in Toronto, we had 2 Labor Day Classics, were outstanding games playing Hamilton. But I remember when I went out for the first time for the Labor Day Classic, I was just amazed at the fans of Regina and just amazed at the fans of Winnipeg over the course of those games when those teams played people back to back. It's just such a great experience, similar to the SEC football. And how many times I said this last week on the panel, you got to throw out the records. I was, as a head coach, feeling real good about myself. My second time as a head coach, we are, I believe, 7-1 in 2011. Saskatchewan's 1-7. The Bombers feel like they need a billboard to say, basically, you're screwed up, Regina. You got it backwards. We go out there and we lose 27-7. So you just don't know what's going to happen through the course of the game. So it's just such a great rivalry, and I love being part of it.
Well, these weekends and this talk brings up memories. You weren't just going against 42 guys in green and white. Grandpa Miller was back. Your boy. Good morning, Riders. Remember that? The Dallas Cowboys couldn't have beat the Riders on that Sunday at Taylor Field.
Yeah, and then certainly being part of the 2007 Labor Day Classic, where we're just getting ready to kick a field goal and we want to be protected and we're going to kick a field goal to win the football game. And I remember Kent Austin going, hey, why don't we call this quarterback redraw we had, and that'll handle in case they blitz us. They blitz us. Kerry keeps it right the middle, goes for a 30-yard touchdown to win the game. Those are great memories. On the Winnipeg side, I remember one time my family came out to a game, and they were really late to the stadium because I think that was a game, and that might not have been the Banjo Bowl, but I think it might have been it was the Banjo Bowl, when a moose was loose in the city of Winnipeg. It caused a traffic jam before the game. Unbelievable.
Not shocked, not for a second. David Asplin writes in from Winnipeg and says, I just want to personally say, Lapo, thank you for helping Winnipeg get the Grey Cup in 2019. Best moment taking it in with my dad. Personal message from David Asplin. I'm assuming you know what he's referring to. Now, the other thing is guys get geeked up in these games and do dumb things. Jim Barker had his thoughts last hour on Pete Robertson. Says he didn't even know who he was headbutting. He just got up and wanted to hit somebody. What is your take on Pete Robertson's brain cramp in the Labor Day Classic that drew a one-game suspension for headbutting?
Yeah, my take on it is, you can only judge the action. You can't judge his intent, and I know I've heard he's a great kid and all that, but when it comes to this, you just got to judge the action that happened. And the action that happened on the field is, you can't do that. It's inexcusable. And the league wanted to make sure these things are stopped. And, he should have been thrown out with a rough play disqualification. That's what I was kind of upset about. Like, I felt that basically if it was missed on the field, the command center has the right, it's always been in the right for protection of football players, that they can say, hey, we saw a rough play disqualification. It's called from the command center. That's what I wish would have happened. And then the suspension the following day. Difficult mistakes. And here's an interesting point, Rob. There's been a lot of people saying, well, I've seen online people showing clips of other games and things that happened a couple years ago. And here's the important point. Some of those clips might be from 3 years ago. And I remember being, as the head coach of Ottawa, I was on the rules committee where we said in 20 and 21, in the rules committee, we are going to eliminate these things. We want the officials to be more stringent calling this stuff. We want them to be protecting the players more. So, maybe something that was called wasn't called in 18 or 19. It should definitely be called now as we want to protect the players. So, I sometimes think the home team always, whether it be Winnipeg, Sask, Hamilton, Toronto, is trying to protect their own players, but it should be just protecting for safety for all the players.
I agree. But I think when you were in Winnipeg in the 2000s and I was with the Riders, Lapo, there could be people charged with assault now if you went back and looked at the film of some of those games, what they were doing to each other. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, absolutely. But again, we're at a time where we've kind of learned from those mistakes. And I talked about it last week on I think at halftime on the panels. And, that's why in the NFL and in major college and now in the CFL, we wear the foam caps. They have to protect players' heads. So, we're just smarter and understanding how to protect people more. So, yeah, I cringe to think of some of the stuff from the year 2000s or when I played football, how different the game was. But, hopefully these things are making it easier to protect, players and make sure guys have long careers.
Yeah. Well, those were just absolute street brawls. And we still kind of have them, but nowhere near what that was. Hey, moving on. A nice lady in Edmonton, Rose, wrote in a while back. No, it was Mandy from Edmonton who wrote in and said, what do you see for the second half for the Edmonton Elks? And I think this is going to be like a drag strip to the end for everybody, particularly the West, but also the East. And I think Edmonton's in it. What do you think Edmonton can be looking forward to? Just, the fans for that team in the second half.
Yeah, first and foremost, they've got the ability. All the teams in this lower bracket, I would say, it doesn't really matter because there's so many of them with the records they have. So anybody can go on a run and either claim the last crossover spot or one of their last playoff spots. So that's the first thing for the Edmonton Elks organization is they have hope because they just keep winning a game. Take it one game at a time. They've got a young quarterback who's got to learn. They're starting to play better defensively. They just got a young team. So if Chris can get them to continue to kind of play better each game, and the thing Trey's done a nice job is he's created explosive plays. It's not as much with his arm, but it doesn't matter. He's keeping on the field and flipping the field with 30-yard runs is the same as a 30-yard pass. So if he can continue to do that and then kind of eliminate the turnovers young quarterbacks usually have, they should be in every game they got. The interesting thing for me with Trey is, he's just got to keep learning. You got to play good enough defense to all of a sudden not put Trey in a position where he has to go out and throw it, 25 times in the second half. And hopefully they start adapting their game plan to, you're going to have to make Trey a true quarterback, but also some run game. Some of the run game that I used to do with Chris Streveler, right? Chris Streveler can throw the ball, but you just don't get dynamic players that can run with the ball like Strevy used to and what Trey can. Trey's so quick and amazing to watch how fast he is.
Well, it's an interesting conundrum to discuss this because I got friends all over that Edmonton organization in every department. And when they were 0-9, they didn't turn on each other really at all. And McAdoo got, replaced by Jarius. But that something had to happen. But my point is some guys say we got the talent. They felt like the talent was there. What was your assessment when this team was struggling? What did you think they were missing, and has that been fixed?
Well, certainly, they're in a lot of games early in the season, and then they would make critical errors that hurt them. But more than anything, they didn't put any points on the board early in the year, Rod. Right? They just couldn't score enough to keep up with other football teams. And Trey's been able to keep them on the football field and drive they put up 30 points the last 2 weeks, I believe. So, if you're starting to put up numbers like that, you can be in games and win football games. And defensively, I think that early in the year, they were not able to stop people running the football. They're worse than the CFL against the run. I think they've improved that. So I think they're just getting better. Now they just got to find an opportunity to win a football game. That was a great game last week against Calgary. I was amazed that Calgary came back to win that game. So, and hats off to Calgary last week. Jake Mayer, he's gotten a lot of flack this year, but I'm looking at his fourth quarter stats in my prep. He's 13 of 15, 119 yards, 5-yard TD rush, 3 TD drives at the end of the game. It was an awesome game to watch.
I'm just checking the standings here. Always enjoy chatting football with you. I'm really enjoying this, and we have a lot of Argos fans, both fans and staff that watches this show. So I'm interested to get your take on what's gone on there. It's not like anything changed. They won the Grey Cup last year. It's not new, right? It's still Pinner and Murph and Dinner and those guys. But it's special, man. And I'm asking you because you spend enough time in Toronto. Is there any talk, any hype? At 9-1, they can clinch a playoff spot with a win Saturday. They're favored by 10. Is this town giving them was that town giving them some respect that they deserve?
I haven't been to a game, but the last game I heard people were at, the crowd were better. It was, there is more talk about it, and that's hopefully the organization can keep pushing and spending money to try to create an atmosphere there. Just because I think about back in 1990, was it 96 and 97 when Doug Flutie was there? And I know they played back that was in the old Rogers Center days. But like Doug Flutie was like one of the best players in the history of this league, if not the best, and they couldn't put more than 10,000 people in the building. So I know it's been, an issue. They've done a really good job reaching out to younger kids, trying to get them into the facility and try to bring more people in. Hopefully, they've got their coach locked up for 3 years. They've got their quarterback locked up for 3 years. And they got a good young football team that's a lot of fun to watch. It's winning games. So hopefully that can drag some older season ticket holders or create a bunch of new ones.
Well, you said you were with the Argos when you came into the league. I'm calling it the pinball effect. And why he wasn't involved for a period of time, I don't know the answer to that. But I know since he's got involved, magic's happened. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, here's a couple of things I think. I think they've done a really good job. Like, I was on the sideline last week standing around those players, and they are big. They are big, athletic, and physical. Their roster is a very impressive-looking athletic group. So their scouting department has done a spectacular job of bringing players in, athletes, and putting a lot of competition on that roster. They got a lot of good football players, not just re-signing veterans. They have young players who stepped up and played. Obviously, the quarterback's done a good job. But the thing I think pinball has had a really good effect, two things. There's a lot of Calgary West people talk about, the Toronto Argonauts. Well, Corey Mace comes over as a D coordinator, works well with players. He basically was able to poach some of the best young players at Calgary, and they were able to pay some of their players. And so all of a sudden, you got Corey Mace bringing some players over. Well, then you got pinball. Can you imagine being a free agent and all of a sudden pinball gets on the phone with you and says, hey, I want you to come over here. And, so he can recruit. And certainly when you have a quarterback, and I think some guys had to trust that they had a quarterback, but when you're successful there, then guys go, all right, I'll go over there because I know we're going to have a chance to win.
Yeah. Hey, the players told me. They said for the most part, Murph did a lot of the work, dinner too, and then in the end, they brought in Pinner as the closer. And he closed the deal.
Absolutely.
So that's all. Hey, that's all that it takes. A quick one. Monty in Saskatoon wants to know who you're picking, Riders or Bombers in the Banjo Bowl.
I'm gonna give the Bombers. I think both of them are good football teams. I just think the home game match will go to the Bombers. Sometimes that doesn't flip back and forth, but I am going to flip it back to Winnipeg. But I'll tell you, Sask did a great job last week. I talked about it on the panel. Like at halftime, Zach had pretty much one drive that had 100 yards. He had 3 passes that equal close to 100 yards. Besides that, he had 2 yards in the first half. So Winnipeg's going to have to find a way to run the football. They're going to have to get their play action going because it looks like the secondary's done a really good job handling the downfield stuff. So maybe the play action opens some stuff up. But I think Winnipeg in front of the home crowd should get the win.
They've won 6 of the last 7. I read the game notes. Thank you, Lapo. Break a leg tomorrow. You'll do great. Appreciate you.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate you having me on.
CFL on TSN's Paul Lapolice joining us. He'll be doing color tomorrow for his second time. All NFL in the next segment as we play Deal or No Deal for our official betting partner, Bet Regal, on week 1. The Moose will rejoin. We're live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio in Atlanta, podcast and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates.
View Casino. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, we're back on a Football Friday. Man, it's been a doozy. Thanks to our friends for helping out. Paul Lapolice and Jim Barker from the CFL on TSN. Yes, that's right. Dun-da-da. It's that time. We're going to play NFL Deal or No Deal as we welcome in Darren Moose DuPont for that. No less the NFL expert and pundit. Hey, Moose, did you see what happened in the break, by the way? I almost got killed. Did you see what happened?
No, I missed it.
Something happened. I don't know if it was the lawn guy. Something knocked over my banner here, and I thought something was touching me on my. I'm like, ah! I thought somebody broke it into the line A, and it knocked over Alexander Barkov and Aaron Ekblad over here, and it broke Ekblad's stick. Anyways, lived to tell the tale, and we're ready to play Deal or No Deal. So, a lot of people have written in with CFL questions and comments, and I get that, but we're, for this segment anyways, moving on to week one in the National Football League. So, bear with me. It's time. Week one NFL Deal or No Deal for Bet Regal, our exclusive betting partner. They got it going last night. The upset in KC, Detroit over the Chiefs, 21-20. I'll give the betting lines and the point spreads, and Moose will decide whether he takes the deal or not, and then I'll tack on with my thoughts. So here we go in no particular order. Cincinnati in the new contract with their quarterback Joe Burrow at Cleveland. Bengals favored by 2. Deal or No Deal?
You got a deal for me. I'll take the Bengals in that one.
Absolutely. Same here. Joe's going to want to prove that he's earned that money. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield at the Minnesota Vikings. The debut of Baker as the starter this year with the Bucs. Vikes favored by 5.5. Deal or no deal?
I like that too. I've become a Kirk Cousins fan, and I love the Vikings.
Thanks to Netflix for that. I'll take the deal as well. He's got a lot to prove in the final deal of his year of his contract. Carolina Panthers at Atlanta Falcons. Falcons favored by 3.5. Hashtag rise up, right, Ryan O'Radio? This doesn't need to be close. Deal or no deal?
I'm going with the Falcons on this one too. I think hope Ryan O'Radio likes that.
The Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. I believe this is the largest point spread of week 1. Ravens favored by 9.5 over the hapless Houston Texans. Deal or no deal?
Another deal for me. I'm taking all these deals so far in week 1.
They're very good odds makers at Bet Regal. As a matter of fact, we'll stop it right there and tell you for the entire list, go check out the replay of the RP show. Now I'll continue. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Indianapolis Colts. Divisional battle. Moose Jags favored by 5. Deal or no deal?
Hard not to take that deal too. I like the teams that are favored here in week 1, and I don't think the Colts are ready yet.
I have not seen anything on this. All the talk's been on the Chiefs. Jonathan Taylor still on the PUP list, or is he playing for the Colts in this one? Might make a difference.
Still on the PUP list. Yeah, still on the PUP list. And the Jags, they have high expectations in Jacksonville. Somebody even had them as the number 1 seed in the AFC, let alone just the AFC South. So big expectations down there in Florida.
Yeah, I got the Jags to cover easily. So far, we're going with all the deals. Your Tennessee Titans at the New Orleans Saints. The Derek Carr era begins in the Bayou. Deal or no deal?
What was the spread? You didn't tell me.
Saints by 3.
Oh, Saints by 3. I got to take the deal, man. It's my team. No deal. No deal. No deal. It's my team. I got to go no deal.
I was going to say, you want to think about that? Yeah. From Ryan O'Radio, WQEE Radio in Atlanta writes in, he says, rise up, Dirty Birds. Way to go, Moose. Hey, I picked the Falcons to win too, Ryan. He hosts the Radio Penitentiary, Ryan O'Radio Penitentiary, every morning, 6 a.m. to 10. It is as much fun as it sounds, the Radio Penitentiary. He is the man around here. Ryan O'Radio airs 2 hours before our show every day on WQEE Radio in Atlanta, or as they say, WQEE. Back on point. By the way, Jordan in Regina writes in, not Director Jordan, another one. 2 people, when they've seen me wearing my crown and robe, I'm probably getting defensive at this, but he's written in SMH. Another one is a staff member of the Edmonton Elks. SMH, shake my... Is that because that I'm playing dress up on national television? Because I quite like it. Why are you saying SMH? Darren, do you hear any criticism in your circles of the host of your program dressing up as a king now twice a week? Yeah. Maybe he's talking about something else.
Was that the lone? It was just SMH. That's it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's it. So maybe he doesn't like our picks. Maybe he doesn't like our picks. I don't know. Yeah. And all I'll say is one was an Elks person, and I'm like, if you don't like the crown, don't watch. Okay. So the San Francisco 49ers are at the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 1, and that is just a classic. Iconic franchise meeting, NFC versus AFC. The 49ers are favored by 2.5 on the road.
I like it. I'm glad it's a close line because it makes me. This is probably one of the toughest ones to pick. They say Pittsburgh should be better in a playoff team. San Fran. I really don't know. I'm gonna lean San Francisco's way. When I don't know where to go, I just go with the better team, and I think San Francisco's a better team.
That's a good one. I am taking the Steelers to win and cover.
Yeah.
By the way, Jordan Ewart in Regina, that's the Jordan I'm speaking of, says, I'm shaking my head at Jeff the Stamps fan. Oh, that's okay. We all do that. We all do that. I
was going to say, that's not new.
No, but a lot of his comments are just to get people's goat and stir up crap, which, trust me, I invented that, so I can't get too mad at Jeff the Stamps fan for that. Jen at the Four Seasons writes in, she says, she took Pittsburgh, as did I. Hey, folks, you can play along, by the way, as we go in the streaming or the EMJ marketing text line, 902-518-3033. If you think there are going to be any upsets in week one, look, we just had one last night. Who do you think it'll be? The Arizona Cardinals are at the Washington Commanders. Washington favored by 7. I'll go ahead and say I'm taking the deal because I don't think there's any way that they lose the first official game under their new ownership. I don't remember a team switching ownership that was as heralded and applauded as the Washington Commanders.
I know. It's insane. It's wild and it's great. And I'm going with you, man. I'm going with the Commanders in this one as well. I think it's a great thing. And they're going to be better, too.
That's a yes from both of us. A big Texas 10-4 on the Commanders covering the 7-point spread. Okay, this is a good one. The Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love visiting the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields. The Bears are favored by 1 at Soldier Field. Does that surprise you at all?
It doesn't. I'm going to take the deal. I think the Bears are going to be a lot better. I like the evolution of Justin Fields. He's very athletic. And with DJ Moore as a great receiver with speed who we can just check the ball down to, I think they're set up for a lot of really good things. And we just don't know what Green Bay is with Jordan Love. We're optimistic, but we just have no idea.
Sprinkling in comments from the viewers as we go. Allie in Texas checks in. She says, King Rod stays. I'm not quite sure what that means, but yes, I'm staying. Sure. Buffalo Bill writes in from North Dakota and he says, I pick the CFL over the NFL to watch. I think we covered this. You can watch them all and be happy. Why does it have to be one versus? Let it go, Rod. They ain't never going to get it, so just move on. Thinking of getting that tattooed in the inside of my forearm. Yes. They ain't never going to get it, so just move on. The Las Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos. The Broncos favored by 3.5 in Sean Payton's Denver debut. What do you think about that?
This is a tough one, too. A really tough one. Jimmy G in Vegas, they're going to be good. No deal. This is the first no deal, I think, outside of the Tennessee game. No deal. I just don't know if Russell Wilson is there yet. They've got to prove it to me before I'll start putting my money behind the Denver Broncos.
Jimmy G making his Raiders debut, so you know that he's got a lot to prove too. But I think at home, Russell Wilson wants to atone for last year. Sean Payton very clearly has his quarterbacks back. And for that reason, I'll take the Denver Broncos to win and cover. Stacy, watching from Access World headquarters, writes in and says, where do cows like to hang out? Justin Fields. And then he says, I'll show myself out. Do better. You know what keeps echoing in my mind is that young kid who I just fell in love with in Moose Jaw, Oakley. He was on my social media, remember? He was roasting me.
Yeah.
I've had to film it. I'm like, hang on, Oakley, hang on. I'm getting out my phone. I need to film this. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Your mom's fat. You got one for that, Clark?
Boom.
Continuing on, Miami at the LA Chargers. Chargers favored by 3. Let me guess, you're taking the deal because you love Justin Herbert.
I do love Justin Herbert, but I'm not taking the deal. I like the Miami Dolphins just a little bit more than I like the Chargers. But I feel like the Chargers and Dolphins are going to be in a real battle for playoff positioning coming down the stretch of the season. Two teams I really like.
Well, yeah, emotion goes into a lot of this and storylines. It really does. I won't take the deal either, but it's, again, that's by 3. There could be less than 3. If the Chargers won by less than 3, I wouldn't be surprised. But I've been inundated with Dolphins talk all week. Vic Fangio wants to make an impression in his first game as the defensive coordinator here. They want to prove they can win without Jalen Ramsey. This might be the game of the week. Apparently, we really need to speed it up. We got 2 minutes to go in this segment. Philadelphia Eagles at the New England Patriots. Eagles favored by 4. Deal or no deal?
Deal for me. I think they'll win big, actually. I just don't know what New England is.
Oh, yeah, this could be ugly. I can't believe it's only 4. I'll take the deal. Seattle Seahawks home to the LA Rams. Seahawks favored by 5.
No deal. No deal. I just don't think McVay loses that badly. I think they'll at least keep it closer.
Seahawks a playoff team last year, as you know.
That's right.
Geno Smith, Pete Carroll. I don't think they lose on opening day in their home stadium. So I'll take the deal. Moose says no. I got a chicken sandwich at PDQ on the line with this one Sunday night. The Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants in prime time. The only question is, why is the spread only 3.5 for the Cowboys favorite? I'm taking that deal. I'll go first. You?
You know what? I'll back your boy Chris Sanford, and I'll take the Giants in that one. I like them. I think they're going to be a good team, although I like the Cowboys too. That's one of my favorite games of the week to watch, probably.
Too bad you're not down here. You could buy me chicken too. And Monday Night Football. Dun, 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 dun. Aaron Rodgers' debut for the New York Jets. They're home to the Buffalo Bills in a classic AFC Eastern showdown. The Bills are favored by 2.5 on the road to show up Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Deal or no deal?
No deal. Jets. I'm riding with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, there you go. Deal or no deal? Download the Bet Regal app, sign up for free, and get playing this weekend. By the way, Allie in Texas says, when she says King Rod stays, she writes in to clarify. She says, it means I don't want the crown to go anywhere if some don't like it. So thank you. I quite like it too. Appreciate you. Moose, you're welcome to stick around, but you don't have to go home, but you can't stay in this segment. We're late for a break. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me and Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
All right, we're back. And just before you bring the Moose in, I'm going to do a sports update. There will be no gold medal for Canada at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. The Canadians fell 95-86 to Serbia in Friday morning semifinal. RJ Barrett led Canada with 23 points. Canada will play in the bronze medal game against the USA on Sunday. The USA fell to Germany in the other semifinal today. Toronto Blue Jays begin a 10-game homestand by taking on the Kansas City Royals tonight at Rogers Center. Jays hold a half-game lead over Texas for the third and final American League wildcard spot. Yusei Kikuchi starts for the Jays. It's Colin Snyder taking the mound for the Royals. And the Chicago Blackhawks will retire Chris Chelios' jersey number this season. The team announced Thursday night that the Hall of Fame defenseman's number 7 will be lifted into the rafters of the United Center on February 25th. Chelly played 9 of his 26 NHL seasons with the Blackhawks. Our sports updates are brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5, Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. Okay, thanks, Moose, for waiting. The text line's open, 902-518-3033, presented by EMJ Marketing. They will provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event, which incidentally, they also represent Paul Lapolice in that field. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com. Just pause in the Football Friday for a second. Ron Duguay yesterday. I can't really remember if you came on afterwards after Dukes. I think you did. But it got a little discussion going in our house when he said, how do I feel about Henrik Lundqvist going into the Hockey Hall of Fame, and is he deserved? Typical Duguay turning the tables on you, right? Very unpredictably asking me questions. Had some time to think about it, and I still give it the thumbs up, but how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I give it the thumbs up. I think Henrik Lundqvist, when you look at the generation that he came up in and his era of goaltending, I think he would constantly go down as one of the best, not only in the National Hockey League, but internationally. He was always up for the Vezina. He was always considered a top 3 or 5 goaltender in the National Hockey League. He just never won the cup, and that's unfortunate. And part of that has to do with the teams around him, too, which was a big part of it. But, I think of him, and I think of Hall of Famer, and I don't have any problems with that at all.
By the way, everybody, it's a great time to get your comments in. I'm feeling charitable in that I will begin audience takeover now. Not that it all kind of wasn't that way, Football Friday, but I'll open it up to your comments, getting in more now than ever. The poll question today for Key Auto Group, incidentally, is, are the Chiefs in trouble? And 86% of respondents saying no, the Kansas City Chiefs are not in trouble after their 21-20 home loss to the Detroit Lions on opening night, Thursday night. At Key Auto Group, they're driven by safety. Experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. It is an interesting debate, though, Darren. And if you watch the interview with Duguay, he just asked my thoughts on the Hall of Fame and specifically the Lundqvist thing, but I said, you're asking the wrong guy. I just spent the summer with Theo. We were together a lot. And, you could tell by the look on Duguay's face, he knew exactly where I was going with that. Did you say it? Did you imply it? Or did I dream it? Somebody along the way said, it doesn't matter anymore if you won to get into the Hall of Fame. Because it used to be you had to have championships to get into the Hockey Hall of Fame. And my God, am I glad that I don't really work in this era anymore. It's okay. You can get into the Hall of Fame. You don't need to win anything. It's a hall of nice guys. Or was it too harsh of a standard back in the day? I literally saw you just roll your eyes. So you clearly have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, it's not, I'm careful, not roll my eyes. I just look, because it's a difficult question. Because I like that old school nature and the values, and I like the high standards. I really do. I was the guy. Now, I never said that winning doesn't matter, but I did say that if you have to think about a Hall of Famer, they're probably not a Hall of Famer. Like, we need to make sure this is still exclusive and means something. So we need to know slam dunk that they're a Hall of Famer. But it is complicated because there's a lot of factors that go into winning in different sports, and how much do you influence that depending on what position you're in? You know what I mean? Like, if Connor McDavid never wins a Stanley Cup, I think he's still going to be a Hall of Famer. There's a lot of factors that go into. You got to have goaltending. If you don't, if a team doesn't put players around you, now you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. You need to will those players that are maybe lesser than to become champions. You need to bring them up if you're a Hall of Famer. That's what Hall of Famers do. They elevate everybody around them to become champions. So there is something to be said there, but it's more complicated. It's not really that black and white, I don't think.
You understand that's what this is right in the sweet spot of what we want to do on this show every day. Because we can talk about every league and the Hall of Fame, and it's not dated. Should have Serena here for this conversation, because when we got off the air yesterday, she was like, how was Duguay? And I said, as always, great. And she asked what we talked about, and I said, Lundqvist gets in even though he didn't win. She goes, well, that goes against your argument that McDavid shouldn't be on the Mount Rushmore of the Oilers because he's never won anything. And I'm like, how dare you use my words against me? I said, well, he's a goalie, so that's different. Bet my match in that one. Steven from North Dakota writes in, he says, nice guys run the Kinsman Club. Bingo! That's the thing. It's not, I don't even know. It's a different time, and I'm kind of glad that my part of it is over in terms of working in the industry full time, because I couldn't. We had John Shannon on here last week, and he said, Rod, in yours and my heyday. And I was like, oh, am I not in my heyday anymore? Or Jim Barker last hour. He's like, remember, Rod, when we were kids? And remember when we used to jump up and high five? I'm like, okay, I'm in that category now. I'm in the old fart category, which is fine. But I also know that it meant something to win. And I'm glad that I have my 2 championship rings from my time with the Rough Riders. Nobody can ever take those away. It's just different. Now, Carlos in Indianapolis says, when she's going to be on again. I don't know, Carlos. She doesn't come on football days, which is a whole new thing in my life. I had a text message last night from my sponsor, Bob, saying, who does Serena think's going to win tonight, Chiefs or Lions? What about what I think? It's all new. And by the way, I see there's a mini war erupted in the streaming comments here as we're live on YouTube, but then it got quickly dissipated. It was between Jordan in Regina and Jeff, the Stamps fan, and I give Jeff huge kudos that he basically diffused it himself and said he's just joking around. But when I was on that Twitter space the other night, they opened it by, this is with representatives of every Atlantic Division team in the NHL. They said, can we all be respectful to each speaker? Matt from Boston, Rod's covering Tampa. So Kirby's doing the, and I was like, ain't that a trip? Can you imagine the presidential debates opening with that? Trump versus Biden? Or back in the day, Scheer versus Trudeau? Do we actually want that?
It's unheard of.
Because, yeah, it's unheard of. Hang on. We'll be right back with Overtime. Football Friday. It's all on the table here, folks. Whatever you'd like to talk about, we'll be right back on Game Plus TV, WQEE podcast, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Another really beautiful day in Boca Raton, Florida. One half of the RP Show Football Friday coming to you from there, and the other half coming to you from Tirana, where the Argonauts are home on Saturday to the Montreal Alouettes. And we'll talk about the weekend plans in a moment, but I also want to welcome our brand new sponsor to the program. Well, number one, Overtime is brought to you by OT Hockey Lanes in Calgary, an amusement park for hockey players, or as they would like to have you know, where skill and fun collide, 28th Street Northeast. But collectors, register for the premier sports card convention where collectors, enthusiasts, and sports lovers unite to celebrate the beauty and value of their treasured items. Taking place in Red Deer in the Parkland Pavilion, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. Get your tickets and more information at premiersportscardcon.ca. That's premiersportscardcon.ca. I'm going to one on Sunday, Moose. That's what made me think of it. In Hollywood, Florida, Matthew Tkachuk is going to be there at 11:30 a.m. on Sunday. So when the rest of this state's watching football, I'll be hanging out with Chucky in Hollywood, Florida. I'm very much looking forward to that. Somebody wrote in about the Huskies. Do you have a Canada West football update here for this weekend, even though you're not calling a game this weekend?
Yeah, Saskatchewan, Regina, the Prairie Battle in Sask. That's going to be the one that I'm looking forward to this weekend, and I'll have my eyes on. The Rams lost to a good UBC team last week, but they're needing a bounce back, and the Huskies escaped Manitoba with the win. So it'll be fun to watch that one. Nice little rivalry in Western Canada there on the prairies.
902-518-3033 is the number to reach us here. We are brought to you by EMJ Marketing on that text line. Here's one. Hi, Rod. Alan from Lampman, Sask on a sprayer currently. Yeah, buddy. Alan, are you watching or listening? I'd love to know. He says, I'm a Patriots fan. I had low hopes in any sort of a Pats victory this weekend. However, David Carr on NFL Network picked the Patriots for a win on Sunday and has strong belief in Mac Jones and Bill O'Brien's union. Gave me some faith that they will at least cover. Have a good weekend, RP and Moose. Thank you, Alan from Lampman, listening on a sprayer. Now, that is what now we're getting somewhere. And Alan, by the way, were you at the event that I spoke at with Stu Grimson and Lampman, which to this day, and I don't think this will ever be broken, the largest sum of money raised in one night for a sports banquet that I've ever attended, it was $250,000. Like, when I left at whatever time it was, they were at $125,000. They pretty much doubled that in Lampman. But anyways, Eagles favored by 4. Remember we talked about this earlier in Deal or No Deal? If it was any other team but the Eagles, Moose, I would think they might have a chance. I don't think they do at all. There's got to be a reason it's only a 4-point spread against the defending NFC champions, against the team that's picked to miss the playoffs, the New England Patriots. I don't see the love in there for this game and picking an upset. Do you?
No, but it's Bill Belichick. And, even without Tom Brady, he's kept the Patriots somewhat close, and at least in that conversation for playoffs. And Mac Jones is a quarterback who I think maybe doesn't have the highest ceiling of a Joe Burrow or a Patrick Mahomes or a Justin Herbert or a Jalen Hurts, but he's got a pretty high floor, I think, going to be fairly consistent. So I'm curious. I'm really curious to see what the New England Patriots are, but we just don't know. We know what the Philadelphia Eagles are, and that is a Super Bowl contender, a top team in the NFC. They're going to battle with San Francisco, or they should, for the number 1 spot, and maybe, the Cowboys are in that conversation as well. It's going to be fun, but no, I don't see any real way that the Eagles lose this game on Sunday.
Alan goes on to say, listening live today, usually catch the podcast, but today it worked out. Of course, because he's in the sprayer, which is an interesting time to be in the sprayer. But I'm not judging. Yeah, they say it's better live, right? It's better in the stands. It's better live to listen or watch the RP show. And Alan says, by the way, I was at the event in Lampman. Didn't get a chance to talk to you directly, but appreciated you coming to talk and share stories. That's the favorite thing that I do, although this show is making a hard, quick run on being the funnest thing to do. Oh, shoot. What else was I? Oh, you asked me the other day where the USA Today Power Rankings had the Cowboys listed, because I only listed the top 8 or 9. I went back and looked.
Right.
They had the Cowboys 15th and the Dolphins 16th, which who are we to laugh? Because who knows? At least they kicked it off. You know what I mean? But I've seen everything from Cowboys going to win the Super Bowl, and that's not just coming out of Dallas, to being the 15th best team in the NFL. So at least we don't have to listen to this crap anymore. The games are upon us.
That's right. You got to throw it out there and then let things go where they will after we play some games.
Thank you, Lapo. Thank you, Jim Barker. Thank you to our fabulous sponsors. The list is growing. And Moose, you have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. You know, for the love of God, everybody take care of yourself and each other. We'll see you Monday at noon Eastern. What's left, Clark? Can you tell me what's left? Yeah. And, hey, for you FAU football fans, we'll see you Saturday night. Note the start time, 6 p.m. on ESPN. FAU Owls against the Ohio Bobcats in Curtis Rourke. Come on up and say hey. We'll see you Monday, noon Eastern.
Who has more fun than us?